Dear students, welcome to this video class. In this class, I will be dealing with the poem The Sun Rising by John Donne. First, let me read out the poem for you. Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy motions lovers seasons run? Saucy pedantic wretch, go, chide, late school boys and so apprentices. Go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride. Call country ants to harvest offices. Love, all alike. No season knows nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are the racks of time. Thy beams, so reverent and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink? But that I would not lose her sight so long, if her eyes have not blinded thine. Look, and tomorrow late, tell me, whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where thou leftest them, or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear, all here in one bed lay. She is all states, and all princes I, nothing else is. Princes do but play us, compared to this, all honor is mimic, all wealth alchemy. Thou, sun, art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine age asks ease, and since thy duties be to warm the world, that is done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy spear. The Sun Rising by John Donne. In this poem, the speaker gets angry with the rising sun and tells the sun not to disturb them, the poet and his beloved in lovemaking. In the first stanza, the speaker and his tone is very much mocking because he mocks the sun. He calls the sun as busy old fool. Unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? See here, he calls the sun as actually busy old fool. It's busy according to him because it's always engaged. It's caught in a routine which is something inescapable, which it cannot escape. It's going on in its routine thing. It doesn't know, or it cannot understand, or it cannot comprehend what is love making. It's busy. Okay, so busy old fool, unruly sun, why does thou this? And here's a question. The speaker asked the sun, yours is an unvisited, uninvited visit. Why are you here? Why are you peeping through the windows and even the curtains? Why are you disturbing us? So this, he doesn't like, the speaker doesn't like what sun is doing. So that's the reason, he says it's very much unruly and you are a busy old fool. You know your work and nothing else apart from that. You know what is actually love making. You don't know what is love and what lovers are. So why are you peeping here through the windows and even the curtains? Why are you peeping on us? Okay, why are you disturbing us? Must to thy emotions lover seasons run? And the second question, the first stanza is that, do we lovers have to structure our schedules according to your movements across the sky? So, according to your movements, should we have to schedule the things? Okay, so that's what it is. Must to thy emotions lover seasons run? So we can't do it. Saucy pedantic wretch, go child, late school boys and so apprentices. So if you really, the speaker, he calls the sun a saucy pedantic wretch. So you are an ill-fated one. Okay, you are actually so much inflexible, you are rude, you are insensitive, you are tiresome because every day you do the routine thing. You are such a saucy pedantic wretch. If you really want to disturb, or if you want to really chide, scold, so then there are late schoolboys, the schoolboys who are late to the school, go, scold them. And so apprentices, there are actually some apprentices who are very sulky, to go there work in the morning, early in the morning. Go, scold them. Why are you disturbing us? Go tell the court huntsman that the king will ride. So here maybe the king, he's referring to maybe James first, because during John Donne's time, James first, he was the one who was ruling there in England, and he is the one who had a passion for horse riding and even hunting. Maybe that's the reason he is actually quoting the king, and maybe that's that king is this James one first. Okay, so you go tell the court huntsman that the king is getting ready for a ride. You do one thing: go urge the workers, okay, to get into their work, harvesting duties. Call country ants to harvest offices. Okay, so you urge the farm workers to start their harvesting duties. You go do certain things and don't just disturb us. Okay, and the poet, he says, love all alike, no season knows nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are racks of time. See, the lovers, they don't know what actually the seasons are, climates are. They're not bothered about actually the seasons. They're not bothered about actually the climate, nor hours, days, months, years. Okay, so all these, there are actually something like racks of time. Racks of time is a figure of speech here which is used by the poet. Okay, it means that such things are passing and they are actually immaterial. Okay, so this is what, as I said earlier, the first stanza, the speaker's tone is very much mocking. He's mocking at the sun. And in the second stanza, thy beam so reverent and strong, why shouldst thou think? See, in the starting lines of actually the second stanza, the speaker, he doubts the strength of the sun if its beams are strong. So what we call actually the beams of the sun, they are very reverent, very strong, So he doubts very much the reverent beams, and he doubts whether they are actually strong. Okay, and why should you think that you are actually so reverent and your beams are very strong? So here in the next lines, in the third line, he says, I could eclipse and cloud them in a wing, but that I would not lose her sight so long. See, I can eclipse you. I can eclipse your beams, okay, and cloud them with a wing, with just a blink of eye, the opening and closing of your eye, that's actually the blink. So I could just eclipse and cloud your beams with a wing, with a blink, as I said, just opening and closing of your eyes. But that I would not lose her sight so long. But I would not do that. I would not do that because, just blink, it's a matter of fraction of a second. But even that he is not ready to do that. He says, I would have eclipsed and cloud your beams with a wing, but that I would not do it because I would not like to lose her sight so long. Maybe actually a fraction of a second, a winking. So that appears so long for him, as he is a passionate lover. He is in love, and it's an intense love he has got towards his lover. So that even a blink, so that would be so long. I would not stay away without seeing my lover. Okay, so that's the reason, I would not actually close my eyes. I would not actually wink my eyes for a fraction of a second also. If our eyes have not blinded thine, look, and tomorrow tell me whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where thou leftest them, or lie here with me. See, here, the poet says, if her eyes have not blinded thine, if my beloved's eyes have not blinded yours, okay, look, and tomorrow tell me. So you go, tomorrow you come back and tell me whether the Indias of spice and mine, here is a reference. It's a reference to the East Indies and West Indies. East Indies for spice and the West Indies for gold and mines, metals. Okay, so they're so famous and they're very precious one. Like, okay, the spices of East Indies and the metal or gold or mines of West Indies. So what we consider as actually very precious. Okay, so all these things, you just go, what you have seen today, you just come back tomorrow, okay, and just check whether they are where you had left yesterday or whether it's lying here with me in my bed with me. Okay, it means here the speaker, he implies that his beloved his lover is very much precious to him. Okay, if her eyes have not blinded them, if my lover's eyes have not blinded yours, look, and tomorrow late when you come back, tell me whether the Indias or spice, which are very precious one and mine, be where thou leftest them or lie here with me. So just check whether they are in the same place where you had left them yesterday, or else they are lying with me here in my bed. It means his lover is actually very precious. All the precious things in the form of his lover are lying in his bed. That's what actually I want to convey. And then in the next lines, ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear all here in one bed lay. So you just check the world's riches, okay, world's most precious things and the sovereign things what you saw yesterday, whether they are in the same places, okay, and ask them whether they ask for those kings, whether ask the kings, okay, the sovereign things, whether they are actually in the same places where the sun had seen them yesterday, and in return you shall hear that all here in one bed lay. So you will listen that they are all lying, okay, in my bed, being his beloved, being my beloved. So that is what the speaker is telling. It means the most precious things, the worldly riches and the sovereign things, in the form of his lover, they are actually lying in the form of his lover in his bed. Okay. In the third stanza, the poet says, she is all states and all princes I, nothing else is. It means my lover is every country and I am every prince. Nothing else exists out of this. Okay, she is all states. My lover is every country and all princes I, and I am every prince. Nothing else is, nothing else exists. Princes do but play us compared to this. All honor is mimic, all wealth alchemy. So here, the poet says, the speaker says, for him, all the honor and the wealth are nothing in comparison to his beloved. So all the wealth, all the honor, when it is compared to his beloved, it's nothing in front of his beloved. So his beloved is actually so great to him. Thou, Old English, you, thou means you in Old English, thou, son, art half as happy as we. Art means Old English once again, are. The modern English is are. Thou, you, son, art, are. You, son, are half as happy as we. In that the worlds contracted thus. So you are, son, you are half as happy as we are. As lovers, me and my beloved, we are extremely happy, and you are not just even half as happy as we are. In that the world is contracted thus. See, the whole world fits here in one bedroom. The whole world fits here in bedroom. In that world is contracted thus. It means the whole world fits here in the bedroom. Thine age asks ease, and since thy duties be to warm the world, that is done in warming us. See, here the speaker says, thine age, because in the first line of the poem, the speaker calls the sun as busy old fool, old age. So thine mean you are, Old English once again. Your age asks is, mean your age demands. Your old age, ask means here, demands. Your old age demands that you take it easy, you take the things easy. And since the duties be to warm the world, see, your duty is to keep the world warm. Okay, you can do your job, you can do your duty by warming, by keeping us warm. I mean, if you keep us, mean the lovers, be both warm, it means your duty has been done. Okay, your duty is to keep the world warm, and that is done in warming us. You can do your job by keeping us warm. Because for this speaker, his lover is the whole world. So your duty is to warm the world. If you warm us, because the world is here in the bed, which lies with me. So if you warm us, it means you are warm the whole world. Your duty is going to be easy as you are old. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. See, in this way, your job is going to be easy, and your job is easily fulfilled as per the speaker. His beloved is the word. He speak as per the speaker, his beloved is the word. So you can do one thing, you can easily fulfill your job. Okay, so the whole world is lying on the bed. So if you shine on the bed, it means you are shining on the whole world. So this is what I want to say in this line. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere. So if you shine here on us, mean my lover is the whole world to me. Okay, so if you just shine on my lover and me, it means you are everywhere. Thou means you, art means are, you are everywhere. It means you are shining the whole world. See, this is how you can make your work easy, because you are aged one. Thine age asks is easy, and since the duties be to warm the world, your duty is to warm the world, and if you warm us, it means that is done. Your duty is done. That's done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou art everywhere, and you can do your work very easily. Okay, so that is by shining here on us. My lover who is on my bed, and it means that you are everywhere. This bed thy center, these walls thy sphere. See, the speaker says their bed is the center of the world. Their bed is the center of the world, and the walls and these walls, walls of the rooms, that is the edges of the world. This bed, thy center is, these walls, thy sphere. So thy sphere, these walls, the room walls. They are actually the sphere, the outside boundaries of the solar system. So this is what your poem, The Sun Rising is, and thanks for watching this video. Thank you.